This is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City Tropical Update for July 10th, 4:30 p.m. The Atlantic Basin is pretty quiet right now. In fact, it's very quiet as we have upper level wind shear and a lot of upper level lows in the Atlantic Basin. There is one area of disturbed weather near the state of Florida, but right here we're using the RGB device right now to show this image because there's so many arrows and barbs all over the place that it's kind of hard to tell what you're looking at. But the disturbed area near Florida is a product of an upper level low. You can see the spinning of the barbs here, and these are mid to upper level flows. So I'm talking over 5,000 feet and up, and you can see that there's a definite spin here. So we're looking at an upper level low in the southeastern Gulf of Mexico, causing an abundance of moisture that's going to head up into Florida. But this is not a low-level feature. There was a couple little spins here off the Florida Keys and the west coast of Florida here early this morning and going into the day. But this is not going to become a tropical system because the pressures are way too high here in the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. In fact, let me switch sources real quick here and show you the Gulf of Mexico buoy data. And again, you can get these buoys below the main tracking chart at Hurricane City. You click on a couple of these ships out here that are right near where this system is. We're talking southeasterly winds, pressure 30.00 inches, basically really not falling pressures. You need to see pressures around 29, 92 when you start getting concerned about an area of low pressure having a chance to develop. However, the water temperatures are plenty warm out there, right around 85 degrees in the southeastern Gulf of Mexico right now. But all these weather observations here are indicating that there's not any falling pressures out here, so it's unlikely we're going to see any development. In fact, all of the global models are now showing no development at all in the Atlantic Basin for the next 5 to 6 days. So basically that's what we're looking at, is a no development situation out here. So this is an upper level low here spinning. Notice we have another upper level low out here in the Atlantic. It's moving off to the west, and these upper level lows tend to gobble everything up that could potentially develop in the Atlantic Basin. And we also have another upper level low forming here north of the Bahamas. What these upper level lows do is cause westerly wind shear all through the Caribbean, and just basically unfavorable upper level wind shear, which chops the top of the thunderstorms off, does not allow development down in the Caribbean or the Gulf of Mexico, which are prime areas for development when you're talking June and July. So basically no development expected anytime soon. Now here's the relative, the vorticity, 850 millibar vorticity. This is right around 5,000 feet up in the atmosphere, and you notice there's a little bit of a signature here, but this is again because it's about 5,000 feet up. It's an upper level low feature, and the same with this over here. So these are not tropical developing systems. So basically the rest of the basin, there's no vorticity, nothing going on. We're not going to see any development out there. And here's the big ugly monster face out in the Atlantic, and this is the I call it the big ugly monster face because this basically prevents development in the Atlantic Basin. You have a big high pressure ridge out here in the middle of the Atlantic, and what some people like to call the Bermuda High or the Azores High out here. It's probably more the Azores High this time of the year. And then we have another high pressure ridge over the southwestern United States, and you have what's in between the two. You have a weakness forming, and this is the upper level low that you're seeing down in the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. Generally, when you have two large high pressure systems like this, you're going to have an upper level low form in between it. That's what we have, and that's why that's unfavorable right now in the Gulf of Mexico. All right, let me go ahead and switch sources here and get to a little bit of information about what's going on with the latest El Nino and take a look at what's happening there. And let's go ahead and take a look at the latest, well actually let's look at this water vapor loop here first of all. And again, this shows clearly the spin that I've been describing, in that it is right here in the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. If you follow the clouds, you can see an upper level twist. This is not a low level center of circulation. And again, you know, anything's possible. Sometimes you can have a low-level center form on the edges of an upper-level low, so we'll watch for that. But at any rate, there's going to be increasing rain chances for South Florida, and in fact, the whole state of Florida, as a matter of fact, as this drifts probably slowly to the north. But again, it's an upper-level feature. All right, let's get to the El Nino. Latest on the thinking on El Nino here. Now, El Nino generally causes unfavorable conditions in the Atlantic Basin, but the El Nino that's expected for this hurricane season is not a real strong El Nino, but it's going to be around maybe close to maybe a degree above normal temperatures in the eastern Pacific, which cause maybe a little bit increasing wind shear in the Atlantic Basin, which is why a lot of the forecasters are predicting less than normal averages of named storms. We've been having, sometimes 15 to 20 named storms a year. We're not expecting that many this year because there's going to be a little bit more wind shear because of this El Nino that's going to come on for the height of the hurricane season. And what will happen here is we'll have, let me get my screen pen going here. What will happen is we'll have, right at the height of the season, August, September, and October, right in here. There's a actually about a little over a 60% chance of El Nino conditions in the Atlantic Basin, and we have about a 38% chance of neutral conditions and very little chance of La Nina, which would be really favorable conditions in the Atlantic Basin. So it looks like we're going to have El Nino conditions, but we're not talking real strong El Nino. Like in the year 1992 when Andrew formed, we had 1.6 degree above normal temperatures. Right now we're expecting maybe a little less than that. In fact, let me scroll this down just a little bit and bring up my next image, and that is the, if I can get it going here. Okay, why are we not getting that? Okay, there it is. Here are the models for the El Nino forecast. Okay, now it wants to switch. Okay, let me go back to this. The models on the El Nino forecast, if you take all these and you average it out, it's just below 1 degree above normal temperatures that we're expecting in the East Pacific, right in here. I know it's hard to see on your screen, but it's just below 1 degree Celsius anomalies expected in the Eastern Pacific. So not a real strong El Nino. Remember, the year that Andrew formed, we were way up in here. So this is a little bit less than that, but there will be still some wind shear in the Atlantic Basin to deal with as a result of 1 degree above normal temperatures, and the Eastern Pacific temperatures being above normal, causing the trade winds to be more out of the west, which shears the top of the thunderstorms in the Atlantic Basin. So basically, that's what the models are indicating, is we're going to see about 1 degree above normal temperatures. Now here are the anomalies graphically, and again you can see the majority of the models here, with this line being neutral, are basically above that, and we're talking anywhere from 1 to 1.5 degrees. If some of the other models are indicating higher than normal, maybe a 1.5 to 2 degree above normal temperatures at the height of the hurricane season, then we're going to definitely have something to worry about as far as intense small hurricanes forming close to the United States. If we have a more like what we're expecting, around 1 degree above normal temperatures for El Nino in the East Pacific, then maybe it'll be a little more wind shear than would normally be expected, but not to the point where we're going to have a dead season. I think we're still going to see probably 15 named storms the way things are going right now, but we'll have to watch out for these small intense systems generally when you have more of an El Nino pattern. Anyway, that's about it for now. I'll be back with another update in a few days, but things are quiet in the Atlantic Basin. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane City.